2024 public meeting for the Ward Planning Commission to order. Tonight we're having a public hearing about Deerfield South, a preliminary plat and site plan. It was sent in by Lemons Engineering, and it's for a 19 duplex with a turnabout cul-de-sac at the end. Is anyone here to speak for or against it?
I'm for it.
Okay. Well, Mr. Weathers, would you like to come up here and?
Sure. My engineer is supposed to be here in just a second.
Okay.
I'm B.J. Weathers, developer of the project. So, you know, your show is being brought up as a preliminary plat. However, this has already been brought through Planning Commission about 2 years ago, I guess. It is rezoned. It was rezoned back at that point. Whenever we brought it, Planning Commission had already approved it. The zoning regulations, we met and exceeded all zoning regulations. There's my engineer, he can tell more about it, but the small road that goes into Deerfield Estates, we agreed to have a gate there to where the duplex owners will not be accessing that side of the subdivision. There's even talks amongst us about doing a gated entrance on the I guess that would be the south side of the subdivision towards Highway 367. Like again, this is something that we brought 2.5 years ago.
You're correct.
To the Planning Commission.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just the site plan that we're looking at.
So I mean, it's already developed. It's already done to the specs that the city has already approved, and so we're just ready to get started.
Okay. So the concerns by the residents that surrounded it about having a thoroughway through their neighborhood, there will be a gate there?
There's no thoroughway through it. It was agreed upon whenever we originally did the original plat, that there would be a gated area there that would be strictly as the second way in, second way out for emergency vehicles. And then again, we are tossing around the idea, and we're very interested in doing this, is making this part of a gated type entrance community to where whenever you come off Highway 367 that you have a keypad for the residents to enter. And as the mayor mentioned here the other day in our pre-meeting of the Planning Commission, this would be the first gated community in the city limits of Ward, and I made a good laugh saying I like to be the first to do stuff. So but again, we're not out to, duplex areas, rental areas tend to have a tendency of being not the nicest. People don't want to do they want to cram them in as tight as they can cram them. No side yards, etc. As you can see there on Building 4, it's got a big red X through it. One of the reasons that it's like that is because there's an existing sewer line that is under there that we have discussed that we could move and actually make more units, but we're deeming this as being a possible park, of being a collection area for trash facilities, etc. Mail as well. So I mean, it's we're not doing a cracker box type establishment. I mean, this is going to be a nice place, that we're wanting to do.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Weathers. Mr. Lemons, do you have anything to add to that? Okay.
Unless you got any questions.
Not right now.
Okay.
Maybe during the actual hearing.
Okay.
Does anybody like to talk against it or for it? Okay, come in. State your name and address, please.
My name is Terry Carr. I live at 28 Whitetail Drive. How are y'all doing?
Good.
I've seen the plans from the gentleman there. Really nice plans. My only concern is, as a homeowner in this place, is even with a gated community, people still walk out, they do things. While they may look nice, if they're HUD approved, you'll get low income. And I'm more worried about the things that'll happen 5 years down the road, houses, and I've seen what these duplexes do. I'm an Air Force transplant, so I've seen many places, including base housing, where roving gangs of children would go around and do unfortunate things at Langley Air Force Base when I was there. But I'm also more worried about my property value as well, because they've already put a low-income duplex on the Deerfield, first side of Deerfield there, kind of nestled in, and now I feel like I'm getting boxed in by duplexes. And as an investment in that area, I was kind of hoping that it would kind of stay away from that kind of stuff. While the gated community is nice, don't get me wrong, kind of makes you think they might be a little more swanky is a good word for it, but at the end of the day, you can't guarantee that. Just like in our area now, where people are renting houses, you can't guarantee that they're gonna have good renters. I had a bad renter behind me, you know, and it's the things that I worry about, because he's not there no more, but there was issues with that as well. You know, homes are an investment, as much as whoever's in the office of the presidency can determine our value of our homes based upon, you know, inflation and all that stuff. And I would rather just see our property, like build single-family houses would be great. You know, but that Bosch Coleman folks that are planning some of that stuff there too, you know, they build really nice houses, you know. Some people don't agree with their building methods, but that's not my business, you know. You can get a single-family business going, or single-family homes, rather than a bunch of duplexes and people who may or may not care to take care of their duplexes because they're just renting.
Right.
So that's my only concerns I have. That, and Ward does a great job at many things. You know, the park is a great idea, because there used to be a baseball field there in 2012 when I bought my house, and somehow it got destroyed and made room for this. The water treatment plant that, you know, they're trying to get more money for because of that. We're just adding more. I think we're adding more to our issues. We could hold off maybe single-family homes or something. That's all I got to say. I just worry about my property value.
Okay, thank you for your input. We'll take it into consideration. Is anyone else here to speak for or against this proposal? Okay, I will now close the public hearing. Mayor, did you post this as a before, or did it have a certain time? So I can go ahead and open the regular meeting? Okay, great. All right, I'm going to go ahead and open the regular Planning Commission meeting. It's 6:37. Does anyone like to say the prayer? Thank you, Mr. Brook. Let's go ahead and stand for the prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Father, we thank you for the opportunity we have to be about the business of the city. We ask, Lord, your blessings upon each and every one that's here this night, Lord. And everything that we say or do, dear Lord God, will be according to your will. We ask your blessings upon those that have special needs, Lord. And we ask all these things in Jesus' holy name. Amen.
Amen. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Brittany, can you do the roll call, please?
Yes. Tara Chandler,
Here.
Here. Here.
Al Chowski,
Here.
Helen Hewitt,
Here. Here. Okay, we do have a quorum, so let's go ahead and look at the approval of the prior meeting minutes. First, we have the September public hearing minutes. Are there any comments or questions from the board about them? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
make a motion, approve as written.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Next is the September regular minutes. Were there any notes or comments on that from the board? If not, I entertain a motion to approve.
Motion. Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Oops, approved as well. Let's go ahead and move on to old business, which we have none of. And we'll move on to new business tonight. We have the Deerfield South site plan from Lemons Engineering. We heard a little bit from Mr. Weathers earlier about it, but if Mr. Lemons would like to come up and give a little bit information, we'll go ahead and look at that.
I always get to adjust it down everywhere I go, so this occupational hazard. Something I'd like for you to understand. I don't know there are some new faces on the Planning Commission that weren't here when this project started. This project started out as a duplex development. It was sold as a duplex development during its initial approval. So therefore, this is identical to the plan that you have already approved. The only reason we're having this is because we have to have what's called a site plan meeting. But the preliminary plat and everything is identical. Nothing has changed with the exception of taking out the fourth lot. But I just want you to understand that it's already been approved for duplexes. And I'd like to commend my client for wanting to make them really nice by adding some amenities. Any questions? Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Mr. Meadows, can you come up and say if you have anything to add? Staff approval or?
Yes, ma'am. Staff has met on this. I'll defer that to Mr. Jones here in a minute, but I will tell you that this property is zoned C1, which does allow for the use of R2 residencies, which is duplexes. Single-family homes couldn't be built in this area unless it was rezoned to begin with. Just to suffice that concern earlier, they would have to go through a rezoning process before that could even happen. So it is currently zoned C1. It actually, according to our zoning map, goes between the existing Deerfield where this is proposed and actually goes parallel to 67-167. There's no access from 67-167, but there is frontage, visual frontage to 67-167. So that's been commercial for a good while. So it is properly zoned. It is appropriately zoned, and to any of my interests, they've satisfied everything that I've asked them as far as ingress, egress, emergency vehicles, and Chief Reeves is here as well. He can speak to that as well. But it is properly zoned.
Okay, thank you. Bruce, you have anything to add?
Yeah, the only thing I got to add is on the stormwater between myself, Tim, BJ, and Michael, we're working with ADEQ to figure out the best plan of action for the appropriate coverage there. At this time, there's a few areas within their regulations that are debatable, and so we just want to make sure that we take the correct action. So we're okay with this moving forward like it is until we can get some clarification on some of these rules.
All right, thank you. I think it would be important to state that the sites need to be up to code for the city and state. And I think that we need to approve it, or my recommendation as chairman is to approve it with a contingency that no building permits are issued until the site is up to erosion and sediment control standards. So I'll entertain a motion or discussion from the board on this issue.
I make a motion, we accept what you've requested. With the contingency.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes with the contingency that building permits will not be issued until all ADEQ requirements are met. I'm sorry?
All the ADEQ permits is already in place.
Yep.
Well, currently we don't know if they can do it under the automatic coverage, but their existing automatic coverage stormwater permit has expired.
Okay.
And so if they, ADQ allows them to move forward with that route, which is a possibility, then that would need to be renewed. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we just, and on my behalf, and Tim, please step in at any point. So we want to be under the understanding that there's 3 stormwater permits currently in Deerfield, and everybody needs to be under the understanding that Deerfield South, even though it's got the name as Deerfield, is different than Deerfield 1 through 4, 5, and 6. Deerfields 5 and 6 we developed. However, we do not own those no more. So we are the permit currently needs to be transferred to the new owner. We are then under the 5 acres or less minimum. Is that correct? That's correct. All right, so we would be under the 5 acres or less minimum, which requires a fee to be paid to ADEQ, which there's no, okay, so there's no fee. So, I mean, the question that I have is why am I getting punished for what I've done correctly and not being able to have a building permit?
Michael, can you come up and speak? I don't believe you're being punished. It's just meeting the basic requirements that DEQ set. And I don't feel comfortable approving things without having current things up to, code.
I have a question before y'all get started.
I just want
Mr. Jones,
Yes, ma'am.
so on this code that, or what it is going to be the permit that has expired, this is what we're just waiting on for you guys and for you to renew, correct?
Well, it's for ADQ to renew, but the discrepancy is what BJ was saying, how he believes Deerfield South is separate. Within the regs, the kind of the definition of a larger common plan of development, which dictates if you have to get your stormwater plan approved through ADQ or automatic coverage. The definition of that could be for some interpreted differently. And so if he is correct and they constitute that as a separate, they would just simply have to renew their automatic coverage, which is expired. If they deem that it's part of a larger common plan of development, they would just have to submit a stormwater plan to ADQ for approval.
So my second is for the mayor and for Aaron. So this plat that we're approving, so is it saying that the plat, we would approve it as long as that permit gets renewed?
Yes, that's what
Yes,
I
and-
meant. Up to code, yeah. That's what the permit being renewed is that.
And there'll be no issue getting it renewed. We just want to make sure we go the correct route, and we've been working on that. And so we're waiting on some extra clarification on that as far as that definition and larger common plan of development.
Thank you.
That's all.
Thanks. Michael, what is the process for getting the SWIP approved? Like, how long does that normally take, or to renew it?
So to get it approved through ADQ, that's on them.
Okay.
That process can take up to a couple months to, a few months and all that. Tim probably has more experience on that aspect than me because he has to do with submitting them. Me, I just get the SWIP plan and review it on our end of the deal.
Okay.
But my recommendation would just be go ahead and just approve the preliminary plat and all that, and let us on the city side just work on the building permits on that ourselves.
Okay.
Because we'll actually know when they get the permit and the notice of intent and all that cleared on our side of the deal. And we're actually working through ADQ and with Tim Lemons on that to actually know what coverage they actually need.
Okay, but they won't begin construction on homes until they have that, correct?
No, they can't do any type of construction until they get their correct coverage, but we actually don't know which coverage that they actually need for right now. But if they only need an automatic coverage, BJ and Weathers should be able to start work
Right.
immediately.
Okay, so the motion that we made and approved will fall under that?
Yeah.
Because if they have, okay, perfect, thank you.
Yeah, and I just want to make sure that the committee is under Bruce was showing me saying under one constituent or one permit. So whenever we did phases 5 and 6, we named them Deerfield 5 and 6, which y'all have already approved. And again, we've sold off, and the new owner should be getting with ADEQ and getting their own permit before they start construction as well, seeing that we are not responsible for that storm permit anymore because we do not own that property no more. But understand that we called it Deerfield South, but Deerfield South would be no different than the new duplex unit that's going in that is actually touching Deerfield as well. It's just we used the name Deerfield because that's what we did. The state requires 5 acres or less. I wasn't under the impression that ours had expired. However, we'll get it. It should be an instant thing, but we want to make sure that we're not held up to another meeting. before we can actually start.
Correct. I mean, we approved it. We're just saying,
Okay.
yeah, we've already approved it.
So when I present my permit day after tomorrow to the city, I can get a building permit. Is that correct?
If they have the renewed thing and
Okay, all right.
they're fine with, that's handled by staff, not us.
Okay, all right,
All
very
right.
good. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Just so you'll know that if you're 5 acres or less,
Mm-hmm.
the permit does not have to go to ADQ for their review and approval.
Right.
And that's the situation we have here. Literally, all we have to do is take the information that we had approved before, change the date to tomorrow's effective date,
Mm-hmm.
and post it on the property, and it is in compliance.
Okay, perfect then. That's
So,
great. Thank
just
you,
wanna
Mr.
let you know
Lemons, for
that's a
clearing
very
that up.
simple thing.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Okay, I'm still learning how Arkansas runs their SWIP plans, so thank you for giving me information.
Just wait 6 months, it's going to change.
Probably, yes. Okay, moving on to Paul's Place, Phase 2, a preliminary plat, also Lemons Engineering. We already voted and approved it. Mhm. Yes, ma'am. Mr. Lemons, would you like to come up and talk about Paul's Place?
Yes. Do you have a copy of that, Paul's Place? I didn't realize we were going to discuss that tonight, but I'm glad we are. Talked to ADQ earlier today, before this ever came up on Deerfield, just to ask what the status was on the approval for Paul's Place, and they said that there was one little box that we needed to check on the application to send it back in, and they would write us the approval. So I just, I guess in the 7 or 8 sheets that we send in, there was one little box that wasn't checked, and so according to Mr. Romes, Jason Romes, the permit officer, he said they're ready to issue it, so hopefully
Okay.
we'll have it by next day.
Do you
or
remember
two.
our conversation in the staff meeting? How I asked you to have that in hand?
I know, and we've done everything we could, but this is one of those that's more than 5 acres, so it has to go through the entire process, the review process, and we sent it within a couple of days of that meeting. It's just taken that long to get to this point.
Okay. And what if I tabled it to next meeting? Would
that's
that
up-
hold up anything with y'all?
That's your prerogative. I mean, that's your decision if that's what you want to do.
Okay.
I would hate that we will have this issue resolved this week and
Right.
have to wait another month. So I would ask if you give us a contingent approval based on us getting that box checked.
Okay. All right. I'd like to ask Mr. Bruce, Mr. Jones. What are your thoughts, staff thoughts on this?
I'm okay with approving it with contingent, waiting on that approval as long as they don't start any dirt work or construction in Phase 2. As long as they don't do anything over there, then it should be perfectly fine. Once they get the permit, Tim send it to us and we'll let them know that they can begin over there.
Okay, but usually, come back. But usually when preliminary plats are approved, then they can start construction. So what's to stop them from, with just a contingency?
I'm the owner and we're not going to start.
Okay. All right, thank you, sir. All right.
Yeah, I mean, the staff will monitor it. We
Okay.
do stormwater inspections and whatnot, and if they happen to be working over there, which I don't think they will, we would just give them a stop work order until they have to stop.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. All right, any discussion or questions from the board?
How long ago was y'all's meeting?
It was October 7th. Actually, I believe it was last month, but like he told me at that meeting that it can take up to 2 months to get that approval. So I understand his dilemma. I was just hoping it would be here by today.
Me too.
Yeah, okay. All right, so I agree with Mr. Jones. I think I'm looking for a motion to approve with the contingency that construction doesn't require it until they have that approval from ADEQ. Any comments or questions?
Motion to approve.
Okay,
Second.
all right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Okay, next we have a replat for Oakland Grove, Lot 66, Mr. Jeffrey Abram. Okay.
Hello.
Hi, if you could tell us a little bit about your project and the replat,
Okay.
reasoning for it, then we'll go from there.
So we bought our property seeing a plat plat map. And when we moved in, realized we got some 45-degree hills that are owned by 3 different lots that come down into my property. If you were to look right now down the line of houses, nobody is taking care of that hill except us. My concern has always been that if the hill isn't maintained, the erosion would affect our home directly. So I've talked to my neighbor. I actually own 2 homes, lot 66 and 67. 67 is at the bottom of the hill. So 66 is an easy one because it's my mother-in-law's house. I'm on the deed with her. Part of her property, I'm looking to move the plat line to where the hill lies on 67. And then I have my neighbor here, Diana, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce your last name, but she's agreed to sell me about 10% of her property, which is that hill, so that all of the hill is part of lot 67, and therefore I have the responsibility of maintaining it to protect my investment in lot 67. Is that good enough?
Yes. Mr. Abrams, I can't remember, were you planning to do another retaining wall in that area, or is it just so that you can mow that area and maintain it?
I've got my sprinkler set up on it.
Okay.
I'm watering it. I'm mowing it. I'm just making sure vegetation is there. Like I said, if you look down the street, nobody else is maintaining that hill. All of the sod is dead. I see future erosion problems. I know the person that owns lot 133 through whatever on the back end of us is getting ready to get that property sold for construction. So there's a lot of moving parts to this, but I just want to be able to protect our investment and our property by having control of that hill and making sure that the money's put into it to make sure that it's maintained and doesn't have any issues.
So, sir, where I see the flowers, that is your property?
Correct. That's so I'm just going to walk over here. Hope you can hear me. This post right here up to this post over to the corner to the retaining wall is the section of lot 65 that I'm looking to purchase from Diana. And you can't see the whole thing here, but that post over to the fence line up to this fence and the retaining wall that's over here. I don't know if you have the other picture you want to show or not, but okay. So basically we're coming, the handrail here is her property line and my mother-in-law's property line on lot 66. The steps go up on 66's property. This is my mother-in-law's house. But I'm looking to take where the fence line is down here to the retaining wall over to the fence here, and then again from this post over there and purchase that part from her lot. So basically, very little change to what is there now, just transferring that hill. And that way, if I ever want to sell lot 67, I have a lot easier time because obviously future buyers aren't looking at this problem. And we're getting it straightened out.
I know it looks like a little odd shape on the survey that we received, but I think with the elevation shifts, y'all can kind of see how it is necessary to maintain that for erosion's sake.
Well, and I agree, and I see that the mother-in-law lady is willing to work with that. I think that's a great idea.
Okay, I'm going to try your name. Miss, I wrote it down. Bezova?
That's right, yeah.
Yes, all right. You're fine with this, obviously.
Yes.
I've seen the notarized letter that you signed, and so you have no opposition to this?
No opposition.
Okay. And I saw also that future renters or anyone that takes the house would also take it as is, as a replat? Because
Yes.
that'll be permanent?
Yes.
And you're aware of that?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Abrams. Any other questions from the board or comments? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the replat as shown.
I make a motion. And second.
All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you.
Are we able to leave?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Right, next we have Moonlight Meadows preliminary plat, variance, Richardson's Engineering. Is anyone here to represent that? All right.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Eric Richardson, Richardson Engineers, here to represent Mr. Bruce and Mr. Lurcher on this variance request. So if you all will, just brief history, if you all will recall, Moonlight Meadows on Moon Road, Commission approved the preliminary plat last year. I believe it was last August. So we've been under construction ever since. Things are going well. Contractors are doing a good job. Mr. Bruce has decided to allow D.R. Horton to be the home builder in this development and not Rouse Coleman. They built a little bit larger home. And so they came to Mr. Bruce not long ago and asked if we could produce lots with a 5-foot side setback instead of a 6-foot side setback, because their houses did not fit within that smaller footprint. And so came to the city, made the request, came to staff, and I think the biggest question from staff is, does that meet fire code? And it sounds like it does, as long as we have a non-combustible exterior. And I believe the trade, and Mr. Bruce said so himself, they'll build all brick homes if you'll allow this setback variance for the subdivision. So going from 5-foot or 6-foot to 5-foot side setbacks, front setback 25 feet, rear 15 will remain the same. So that's the request tonight.
Right, and I also remember asking that the lot sizes haven't changed because of the setbacks, and you said they haven't.
No,
It's
ma'am.
the same lot, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
Nothing has changed. That is the only change.
right, yeah, so from the staff meeting, I took away that they suggested we allow the 5-foot with a contingency of fire-resistant materials used on the exterior of all homes and a BOA of 90% to go to council for approval. And I don't remember what the BOA was for. Does any staff, can y'all?
Actually, just clarification on that,
Okay.
Chairperson Mixon. It wasn't fire-resistant material. The exterior walls have to be of non-combustible construction. So it doesn't deal with the eaves or the soffits, or you're not going to find fire-resistant vinyl siding, so, for the soffits. So just to be fair and just to be clear to the construction side of it, the exterior walls are to be non-combustible. That was staff recommendation. And then the bill of assurance was, Mr. Bruce was willing to put that contention in the bill of assurance to make sure that it would not be changeable. My concern with that at staff review was that once he sells that property, more than 50% ownership, they can change the bill of assurance. So I wanted something a little more permanent than that. He was willing to make it 90% and required a change of bill of assurance. And then he understood that we were going to make this part of our condition of a variance, so that it would be a condition on Mr. Archdeacon issuing building permits. So I got involved in the fire code side of this, the initial part, because Chief Reeves was on his honeymoon. So they asked me the fire code questions. It is allowed by fire code to be at 5 feet. There's actually no exterior firewall or exterior wall rating condition in the fire code. You can just take it down to 5 feet. City ordinances can be more stringent than the state code, and ours is. The state code used to be at 8 feet, and then they've modeled it down to 6 feet, then it went to 5 feet. Our city ordinance, our ordinance, zoning ordinance is still 6 feet. We can make it 5 feet, but if you don't have some give and take, it's not really a variance. It's just, you might as well just make it 5 feet. So in order for this to be a variance, we agreed collectively in the staff review to make exterior non-combustible walls and allow them to go down to 5 feet. But our ordinance will still be 6 feet, so that on future subdivisions, we would have that right to maintain that 6 feet on each side, 12 feet spacing between homes in an R1 zone. So,
Thank you.
all right, thank you.
Anything else you'd like to add?
No, I mean, just that it's fairly common. I mean,
Yeah.
we see 5 feet setbacks quite often. 6 feet's nice, but 5 happens a lot, especially with the all brick homes. So.
Right. Any questions from the board? Okay. I ask for a motion to approve the variance as staff suggests with the 5-foot with a contingency of non-combustible materials used on exterior of all homes and the BOA of 90%. Okay. Okay. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Last new business we have is Windsor Park Addition Phase 3 Preliminary Plat Bond Engineering. Is there anyone here for that? Okay. Well, I think I just saw lights. Maybe that's him. Let's see, can you show the preliminary plat? The lights in the window from the door, just to clarify for y'all. I'm not just seeing lights. Okay. Yes. Let's see.
Well, I will tell you that we are doing all brick homes because I'm not selling to Roush Coleman.
Okay.
I'm a home builder and I build about anywhere from 5 to 10 houses a year and nobody's developing anymore. So that's why we took this project on.
Okay.
And I've already got about 50 of them spoke for from other builders like me that build 5 to 10 a year. And they build good quality homes. And I told them I'm not going to allow vinyl siding except for under porches and then the gables and the eaves.
Okay.
My name is Wendell Gibson and my partner Steve Wilhite will be the owners of it.
All right. Thank you, Mr.
We've got a
Gibson.
plan for 3 phases at this time.
There's.
And there's our engineer.
You delayed them just long enough?
Mm-hmm.
You're up. I'm up.
Just give us a little info about this preliminary plat, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, sure. So this is 182 lots altogether. Basically what we're looking at doing is cutting it into 3 phases. And it may be 2 phases, it may be 4 phases, but preliminarily we're looking at 3 phases. The first phase will be the most northerly road or westerly per the plan and kind of hit that whole area. The reason, we're really looking at doing that is we can gravity sewer over to Green Apple pretty easily. And there's a detention pond over there in that corner where there's a ditch currently that goes underneath Green Apple. So that'll be the detention pond for that phase as well. The high point kind of runs where the house is, kind of goes diagonal at a northeasterly direction. So the second phase will have to have another entrance, and we can actually sewer a little bit more on that high ridge. That southeasterly where that cul-de-sac is, that's kind of the lowest part where we have the biggest problem with the sewer, to be honest. That's the worst area to get a sewer. We're probably going to develop that last. Got to work with Bruce to try and figure out how to get that sewer. I've got it working right now. I would really like to lower it about another foot. So we just have to work through those steps if we can. If not, it'll work. It just doesn't. It's close.
Are they already clearing for this? I think I saw. Are y'all already clearing?
The family sold the timber off. We don't own the property.
Okay. Any questions from the board? All right, go ahead.
I do have a question. Because on the property owner, where you're going to build. My question is directly behind the 2 houses there before you get to Green Apple. Is that ground suitable to build and put a house on?
We haven't had any geotech work done. I mean, you can build a house there. Whenever we build the roads, we'll have a geotech engineer out there to look and see if we have any need for undercut. I don't see any issues with building a house though, no.
Well, you're going to build several homes back through there.
Yeah.
And that's all that's the main drainage for that area.
Well, the main drain is, like I said, there's a ridge There's a pond on the south side, so the water drains north and south. Behind Green Apple, they cut in a ditch kind of through there to kind of drain behind those houses, I believe, which is where the detention pond is going to go. It'll tie in right there, but we've got a tremendous amount of storm drainage in there to get the water to go the way that it's going into the detention pond and keep going under Green Apple. But I mean, I know you live in that corner, and you know, I'm sure you've probably been back there. There's a tremendous amount of fall from where those houses are back to that ditch. I mean, the terrain over there is not flat.
I would think that, personally, I would think you're going to have to improve the drainage in that area.
Oh, we are.
Significantly, because of the fact, when you're going to dump into the said ditch in the very back, I guess that's the north side, that is a main artery for the city. That goes all through those property owners, all the way out, crosses Wilson Loop, and goes on out into the county, back in through there.
That's the upper end of the ditch, yes. It's not the middle and it's not the lower. It's the very upper end of that drainage basin, and we've accounted for all that.
I'm glad, because it's really bad. People back there are going to complain. I'll just give you a heads up, because they complain now.
Well, hopefully whenever we do this, with the amount of storm drainage and the detention and everything we have in there, hopefully they'll see a small improvement.
The stormwater management plan should improve the property, and also all construction is required to not adversely affect the surrounding properties. So I think that they'll make sure that they maintain a level of water retention to make sure that that doesn't happen. Mayor, did you have something you wanted to add?
Well, I just want to clarify, just make sure you understand that there'll be sidewalks throughout this, and also the developer has agreed to connect, I guess it'd be the northwest side by the retention pond, connect it to Green Apple right there to that existing sidewalk over there. So people in Green Apple, Weatherwood, would be able to walk from their neighborhood through this neighborhood, and there'll also be another sidewalk on the other side connecting to the existing sidewalk at the school. So they'll be able to walk straight through to school, ride bikes, whatever, to the school. So, you know, kudos to the developers for agreeing to do that, and just good sidewalk coverage throughout the whole thing. It'll be good.
Yeah, that'll be great for kids not having to go out to the 367 to go along that sidewalk. I mean, it's a good sidewalk, but still. Okay, any other questions from the board? If not, I'd like to have staff come up and give their opinion, approval or not. Any contingencies you recommend?
I have not seen a stormwater prevention plan approved from ADEQ. Has that been submitted?
That won't be, if you want me to come up or make it here. So the stormwater and erosion control plan, will be submitted after we know who the contractor is, so we can list the contractor on the plan. We have an erosion control plan that we've done, but the SWIP will actually have to have the contractor listed on it. So we can't do that until we have the contractor.
Right. Yeah, and we're okay with that. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Mayor, can you come up? Mr. Brook, did you say that your property abuts this
It does.
development? Okay. Is he allowed to vote on, or should he abstain from the voting?
Probably should abstain.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I will go ahead and open for questions or comments from the board. If not, I will entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any other comments from the board? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Thank you.
All right, having no more new business, we'll go ahead and move on to announcements. Early voting is October 26th through November 4th here in City Hall. And we also have Election Day is November 5th. City offices will be closed November 11th in observation of Veterans Day. Also, City Council will next meet on November 19th at 6:30 p.m. here in the council chambers. Our Planning Commission meeting will next be on November 25th at 6:30, and city offices will be closed in observance of Thanksgiving, November 28th through 29th. So, thank you, everyone, and I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to adjourn. All those in favor? All right.